Hi guys, happy Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay. I pulled a fortune card today too. Okay. We have the Harlequin. Okay. Our energy's coming in. We have the uh, Page of Cups, and the card under her was the Page of Coins. So I just took it. I think it plays a part here too. Again, we come in with the Five of Wands crossed by the Nine of Swords, and the outbound is the Page of Swords. I pulled a clarifier and we have the Ace of Swords. So I will say this. I think that what we are dealing with, okay, is more of just a continuation of really having to look at ourselves. With all these retrogrades and Venus doing her dance there, things are really, really being brought to light that need to be addressed, right? And what does a retrograde do? It's the pop quiz, right? How well did you learn this the last time? Because we're going to, put you in something that really makes you see, whether you got the lesson, or whether it was addressed, or whether it wasn't addressed, or what the deal was there. And I think that what's happening here, pull all the planet dances out of this. Okay, what this comes down to is the things that we learn as children, right? We've got the Five of Wands here is Saturn and Leo. Okay, that's the fifth house. That's the house of pleasure, right? What fills and inflames you, right? It can be on a relationship front. It could be a creative project. It could be anything that lights you on fire. What makes you passionate about something, right? That all comes under that umbrella there. Okay, now we've got the Nine of Swords here. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. The Nine of Swords. That's Mars and Gemini. Okay, that's the third house of the things that we learn, the patterns that we see our parents doing, that we acquire. It's everything that we learn before we drive our bike off the street, right? It's all the stuff that we've got from back then, right? Were we nurtured? Did we feel loved or unloved? How did it's those relationships that happen then form the patterns that we have as adults, right? If they're not dealt with, right? But to be dealt with, we need to know they need to come to light, and they need to show up as consistent patterns, usually in places that leave a little bit of a mark, or are hitting resistance or something like that. I think that what we've got here too is, I think you'll get clarity here, right? The Ace of Swords, or you'll get the truth behind something, right? The Harlequin card comes in here, and that card basically just speaks of true feelings are masked, right? And think about this. Our first house, the house of who we are, right? That really comes in with our rising sign, right? It's the first mask that we wear, the first mask that we show everyone. It's not truly who we are. It's what are we going to present about ourselves, right? And we're going to tuck the rest of the stuff away. So what that really means is, when you feel hurt about something, how does that show up, right? When you feel disappointed, how does that show up? We wear these masks, right? And things in our lives either come to light in love, right? Or in fear. Fear shows up in every way that doesn't present itself with love. It shows up in war. It shows up in aggression, rage. It shows up in ways that wear a mask, right? But at the root of it all, it's fear, okay? This card really speaks of, though, concealing sadness derived from loneliness, a broken heart, disappointment. That doesn't necessarily need to be just a one-on-one relationship, right? If we're trying to launch a project, or we put our all into something, and we put it out there for the world to see, and it gets picked apart, and it gets criticized, and it gets, put on all those Bravo channels and everything else, and it gets, dragged across the mud, and it doesn't have the reception that you thought it would, right? How do you handle that, right? Do you go back to the drawing board and critique it, right? Or do you really take personal offense to that, right? Some things we really just, we fester and we can't get through things like that, right? These are just, does that automatically make you feel, you know, less than, loved, lonely, right? We have to look at how we react to actions, right? Do we take it personal, or do we realize, I kind of missed the mark on this project. Let me rework it here to see how it goes, right? These are just different ways that we acquire things. And honestly, guys, things aren't wrong or right. It's a process, right? We learn as we go. So cut yourself some slack. But if there's areas here where, you know, example, okay, these can be energies too. They can be energies of different things. They don't necessarily need to be people. Okay, this could all be a dialogue going on within yourself, and you may give yourself clarity when you take a little bit, okay? Because the page of cups there, okay, she is, and it's not gender specific, I'm just have to reference it as something. It's our, you know, she's in love with love, right? Be that in whatever form. She gets fully engaged in her creative ideas. She never has a lack for something. She's always on to the next creative thing. She's just alive, right? But she's not so much she doesn't so much take her foot off the gas when she hears the train coming, sees the tracks, you know, the arms come down, but yet she doesn't take her foot off the gas, right? It's things like that. Like you see the warning, you kind of know it's not going to end well, but you drive right into it, right? Repeatedly, okay? Just bringing that up. Now the page of coins there, these can all be messages coming to you guys too, but I'm pointing out just the different characteristics here because I think everyone can get something from this, right? And I think these are the things that are going to be front and center. They're not going to be things that you have to, if you're watching this and you're saying, I don't know what this might be, then it's not for you. Because these are things that have been showing their face over and over and over again. These aren't new things. These are patterns, right? They're things that we learn. Okay, now the page of coins there, I pulled him out because he's the creative project, right? He's looking at something, at doing it a different way, right? This is someone who sees things but comes at it with an edge, but doesn't necessarily see the step by step, right? Like you want to do something, but you forget you have no financial backing, right? It's things like that, like they're not thought through things that repeatedly bite you in the ass. And that was just an example. It could be anything, but my point is it's missing a significant piece of the puzzle here, right? Now we've got the outbound here with the page of swords there. You know, he's you know, maybe a little bit arrogant, right? But he's the intellect, right? But he'll come at you. It's his way or no way, basically, right? It's the young version, uncensored version of the King of Swords, right? Which you know, this just leaves a little bit more of a mark because it's not a lot of worldly experience, right? It's not all of these page cards are experiences that don't have emotional intelligence on an adult level, so to speak, behind it. And by adult level, I shouldn't have said that, but by a that's not what I mean. I mean things just don't appear how they appear, right? Like this page, for example, if this is a relationship, right? Just say this is a relationship. She gets into a relationship like a Pisces, right? And I'm just using these guys as examples, okay? Pisces will do for people, right? They forget about themselves though, and they don't put up healthy boundaries. So when their responsibility, right? When they let someone take too much or do too much or whatever, we've given them the free rein, right? Like we've given them the rein because we haven't put boundaries in place, right? So they're trampling through us. They're taking advantage of us because we're letting them, right? That's what she does. She's passionate about everything, but she doesn't think about the ramifications, right? So it's just missing the long term. Maybe if I slowed down and thought about this more and grounded it, I could see, right? If this is a relationship, she's in love with love. She's not so much in love with the person, right? So that when this is the huge mismatch here, and that goes for projects too, anything that the whole scenario is missing pieces. That's all. It's like a puzzle that's missing a few pieces. If we had just slowed down and counted the pieces before we, you know, put the thing in place, we would see here where something might be askew prior to, you know, when we've blown through a bank account, or we got a broken heart because someone said something about us, or it didn't turn out, or we had higher expectations for someone than they could deliver, right? When we put you know, people, places, and things in our head, it doesn't always play out like that in real life, because we've got free will here for everything, right? For every giver, there's a receiver, but we can't always anticipate everything. But when we notice that the things in our lives that we're doing are causing us repeated, less than happy, joy-filled, fulfilled, whole end results, we need to look at where and what that's all about, right? This is why we don't steamroll through things. And I'm a big advocate of really suggesting that, you know, we take the time after each relationship with someone to really look at, you know, what part, you know, because it always takes two, guys. It takes two for everything, basically, at a minimum, right? So you've got to take accountability for the parts that you play in things, and that's to your better good. It's not for a right or a wrong. It's just so, hey, I don't, you know, get, you know, poked in the ass again. It's just it's a smart way to do things here. And I think that what's happening is, you know, we've got the Five of Wands here, okay? That is, again, how we deploy things and how the world receives it. How we deploy a relationship. What do we expect of the other person? Did we put an expectation on someone that clearly they can't deliver, and that's on us, right? Or vice versa, it could be, all right? Now we've got Mars and Gemini here, okay? And that is, you know, are we looking for people to fill our voids, right? It's not another person's responsibility to make you happy. What a relationship should be, honestly, guys, are two whole people, really, supporting each other and helping each other grow. It's not the codependent relationship where one suffocates the other, right? It's not, you know, one it's got to be balanced here, and that's what I think it is. It's taking a look back, way back where the train was, right? When we were young, the patterns we learned. You know, are we looking for someone else to fill, to make us feel better, to make us feel loved because we weren't, you know, given that attention, or, you know, weren't made to feel good? Do we need repeated praise because we don't think we're enough, right? You've got to look at all of these things. This could range from A to Z, but whatever it is, this situation here, I think you need to really take a step back, okay, and really get some clarity and some truth, and ask the tough questions, because if you do, this card is telling you you're going to clear the muck out. You're going to be able to see what the nuts and bolts of this is really about, and it can be in many different facets. It doesn't need to be just one area, okay? Usually something affects your life from A to Z. It's not going to affect one thing and not the other, right? If you're having a relationship, a one-on-one relationship with someone, and you're putting expectations on them, and you're looking for this and looking for that, I can bet you it's showing up in other areas of your life, right? It's showing up when someone cuts you off in traffic. It's showing up on the job front. It's showing up when someone doesn't agree with you. It's showing up in every way across the board, okay? Because sadness, loneliness, and a broken heart, those are all emotions, right? And they're coming from somewhere, right? They're either man-made, or we're putting them in the wrong spot, right? So I think that that's really what's going on here. You know, you could have deployed something, or wanted to do something, or someone hurt your feelings, or it can range from anything. But what this is saying is these are they can be people. It can be a relationship where you're just going to have it out. But given this is a 9, right? It can be the stark realization of anything, okay? Whatever this is not going to be a shock to you. This is something that's been going on, and it's not the first time that it's going on, okay? So use the retrograde energy here, okay? It's going to be here for a bit. One may leave, but we've got one like right behind it, and they're staying here longer than they normally are, because these are the bigger lessons, right? This is like you're going to get through this. This is the big king me step, right? So just do the work, okay? take a little bit of time, find a place this weekend, even if you have to lock yourself in the bathroom or closet, really, and look at what's going on here, because fives come in with a warning, right? We've got to look at something or approach something in a different way. All right. And the nines are the things that are eating us alive from the inside out, be it something we're telling ourselves or something that someone else is telling us. But this to me is always the stark realization card. If you want to grow from the 9 to get to the 10 and have it be over, right? It's not over till the 10. The 9 is taking a look at it and saying, I've got to own this. I've got to change this. I've got to look at this. I've got to release this. Then we come into the 10 and it's done, right? And we go on from there in a new way. But the 9 is again, it's an awakening card. And that's what I think, you know, we need to look at. We need to back the bus up to the things that we've been doing over and over and over again, right? Usually it's generational. It's how our you know, if you grew up, an example is your parents told you, you know, don't cry, just suck it up. So you don't show emotion, right? Doesn't mean you're not hurt, but it's coming out in fearful ways, right? It's coming out in venom to other people and insecurities in yourself. And they're showing up in ways that are going to cost you dearly. Okay. So, you know, I run into, and I think everybody goes through this and no one really likes it, right? But constructive criticism, okay? And I say constructive. I'm not talking about someone saying something mean or disrespectful. I'm talking about, you know, constructive criticism where someone really has your best intention at heart, right? Ask yourself if you can listen to that and actually walk away not mad, right? If you can't, you've got to look at this. Okay, because that means you're taking something too personal, right? You just, I'm just using that as an example. Okay. Okay. I think that this really is, I do think it's a positive read, honestly, because we need to look at this stuff, because the net, guys, really is a happy life, right? We want to be filled with joy. We want to wake up in the morning and just be happy. We don't want to, you know, meet resistance and be in relationships that are just sucking us dry because we've put expectations on them and we've allowed people in that shouldn't be in there. We need to be more discerning, right? But to be more discerning, we need to know who we are, right? As a whole person, right? Other people should complement our lives, absolutely, but they should not be who makes you the whole person. That's on you, right? That's on you. So again, look at the people that are around you, right? What are you pulling in? That's a mirror as to where this might be. But I'm going to say this is not a surprise to anyone. This is very it's I'm not going to say young as far as age wise. It's energy, so to speak, of that needs to learn more, right? That needs to explore more. Okay, it's energy of that. It's where am I falling short and why? And where is that coming from? Right? That's what this is. These aren't queens, these aren't kings. This is the energy of very at the core, all the pages are earth energy, right? Because they haven't gone anywhere yet. Okay, but they carry the element of their suit too. Okay, so you've got emotion here. Okay, you've got tangibility here. And you've got intellect, which is how you show up, right? So maybe just look at those things. We can always improve in areas. Nobody's perfect, and we're always growing. So this is not, you know, this is just an assessment to try to make your life better, right? So there you have it. Okay, I hope that this helped you in some way. Okay, we've got push-pull energy here. Keep in mind, okay, Saturn puts restrictions on you. Again, so this is like driving with your foot on the brake and the gas. And Mars is going to push you, you know, that's in the 3rd house. It's going to push you. You're going to, you know, you're going to stick to your beliefs, whether they're kicking you in the ass or not, right? But here comes Saturn, and it's going to say, we're going to put the brakes on here on any of these things that you're really passionate about, right? So it's like, now what do I do, right? Do I take my foot off the gas or the brake? That's up to you, right? So maybe just put the car in park and really just look at this. Okay, so I would take some serious time this weekend. We all can look at something, and this is really being front and center. 5 and 9, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough too, because it might not be a pleasant discovery, right? It might be, though, what really clears the path ahead, right? Green skies and green lights and blue skies, you know, but we've got to look at the stuff, and we've got to do the work, and we've got to be honest, you know? So there you have it. Okay, I hope that that helped you in some way, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. This is a great read, guys. It really is. It's a positive read. You know, you don't want to be carting junk in the trunk, right? We want to get rid of it. Okay, thank you so much.